Have you ever been in a situation at your job where your boss, human resources, or another authority told you they were conducting an investigation? If so, how did it make you feel? For many employees, the first time they are a part of an investigation, they are rightly filled with many feelings of uncertainty. How's it going? This is your Supply Chain Pro here, and in today's video, we will be reviewing the steps to an investigation at the workplace. Investigations at the workplace are usually initiated due to two scenarios. The first is a safety accident or incident where there was damage to property or injury to a coworker. The second scenario is related to an employee's conduct for what they said or did potentially breaking company policy or law. The main purpose of an investigation in both of these scenarios is for an authority who is not present at the time of the scenarios to gather evidence and objectively reconstruct to understand what happened. That authority, once they understand, will then determine if the company policy or law was broken and consequences for the employee is appropriate. Investigations related to safety also have a secondary purpose, that is to determine the root cause of the incident. The authority is then responsible for taking the root cause and either changing the structure of the company's rules or physical conditions to minimize the chances of that root cause occurring again, or providing training and awareness to the employees of the workforce so that other employees do not make the same mistake that caused today's incident in question. This secondary purpose is about injury and incident prevention to keep other employees safe and healthy or property in good condition. The first step to an investigation begins with a report of something wrong. This could be a forklift colliding with a rack, a sprained ankle, or an inappropriate joke told at the lunch table. In all of these scenarios, there was something that happened, and an employee needs to communicate what happened to the authority. The second step to the investigation process is for management to obtain statements from witnesses. In the event of a forklift collision or a sprained ankle, there will be a primary person associated with the incident who is the operator of the forklift or the employee who actually sprained their ankle. This primary statement will have the most potential value for the authority to understand the reality of what happened as they reconstruct the situation. A written statement is usually comprised of the person's name, the approximate time and location of the incident, what the employee was doing, and their perception of the events immediately before and following the incident. The primary source will write and describe what they perceived through their senses and sequence of actions. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? What did you smell? And any other relevant information. An example of a primary statement would be that I, Caesar, was working near Dock 16 around 9 a.m. on Tuesday the 25th. I had to step over a pallet as I was transferring cases from one pallet to another. As I was carrying two boxes, I accidentally stepped on the pallet and missed placing my foot on the ground, and my heel landed on the top plank next to where I was working. This caused me to lose my balance, and I felt a pain in my right ankle. Using this amount of detail helps the authority understand the specifics of what actually happened, although that authority was not necessarily at the scene during the incident. Some primary sources can be resistant to the investigation process for a variety of reasons. Perhaps the primary source did something wrong and they're attempting to avoid the authority from understanding their fault. Perhaps the primary source doesn't trust the authority and chooses to withhold information from the authority out of spite or a sense of moral leverage. None of these motivations are positive, and none of these motivations will help prevent future incidents from occurring at the job. Your Supply Chain Pros tip is to always tell the truth, even if it is difficult to do so. Some authorities have been known to escalate discipline if they find out that a policy was voluntarily or even accidentally broken, and they were lied to during the investigation process. After obtaining the statement from the primary source, the authority will want to look for other employees that were nearby that may serve as a witness to the incident. These could be employees working in close proximity to the safety incident or workers that were part of the conversation or within hearing distance of an inappropriate joke in the cafeteria. The authority will want to ask other coworkers if they heard anything, and if the other coworkers confirm they heard or saw something, then the authority will get their witness statements in the same fashion as before. As an example, I, Terry, was eating my lunch at 11 a.m. in the cafeteria, and I overheard Paul make a pretty mean joke about Stacy's weight. I didn't think this was appropriate and sounded very hurtful. His exact words were, and then Terry will want to write down the exact inappropriate words. As expressed before, this statement contains people, names, places, times, auditory senses, exact words, and feelings. This statement process can take some time. Also, there are times in which there are conflicting witness statements. Every employee handles investigations and accountability differently. It is assumed that Paul doesn't see anything wrong with this joke, or he may lie on his statement in order to avoid getting in trouble. It takes a lot of maturity for an employee to tell the truth, especially if they think they could get in trouble as a consequence of it. And there are oftentimes a lot of ambiguity when trying to sort through social situations. Leading employees for over 12 years, I have seen that some people are willing to say anything in order to win an argument or to come out of a situation with moral superiority, even if that means lying in order to get whatever objective they are looking for. You should expect differing statements on this portion of the investigation process. At this point, the authority will attempt to evaluate all the statements to determine what actually happened. In the event that it is not clear or the authority wants further evidence, it is possible to source additional items from other locations to help bring clarity to the situation. There are a variety of options that an authority has, from security camera footage to electronic system logs to physical inspection or procedural records. The authority is looking amongst other sources for objective information that can further provide documentation on what actually occurred and support one of the witness or the primary source statements. It is important to understand that the frontline authority who is taking these statements and compiling these objective pieces of evidence may be the one making the decision, or may have to submit all of their findings to a higher authority for review and their final decision. Adding additional layers of authority to the investigation process removes any opportunities for discretion or favoritism by the frontline authority on the matter. It is at this point that the authority must come to a decision. Based on the primary statement, the witness statements, and the objective evidence sourced from records, the authority may be able to understand what happened and objectively determine a root cause and if a company policy or law was broken. In the event that it is proven that a safety policy or a harassment law was broken, the authority is likely to administer corrective action or discipline to officially document, comment, and notify that the employee's subject behavior was wrong. If the root cause was safety-related, the authority should take the issue and use it to provide awareness training to additional employees in the workforce so that the root cause of the safety problem does not occur again to someone else in the future. In the event that the investigation is not objectively conclusive, the authority should not pursue disciplinary action for something that cannot be proven. While some employees may take offense and play politics in this scenario, it is advised that the authority uses this investigation as a way to communicate proper company policy adherence while on the job. Just because this policy wasn't proven to be broken today doesn't mean that employees could not benefit from learning about the do's and don'ts of the company rules. Take this as a learning opportunity for all the team members involved. Hopefully, if you made it to this point of the video, you have a better understanding of the corporate investigation process. If you have a great, terrible, or unique workplace investigation story, comment down below. I wanted to say thank you for listening to this video. If you found value in the content of this video, like and subscribe to the Supply Chain Pros channel, where we can help you with your supply chain and general employment issues. This is your Supply Chain Pro, out.